Hello, and welcome to another video tutorial from Oklahoma City University's Center for Excellence in Teaching and Learning. In this video, I would like to show faculty a potential situation that they might notice when scheduling a Microsoft Teams meeting through their course in D2L and the course team. So first, let me show you what it looks like, and then I will show you a method in which you can ensure that your students are receiving the notification or specifically the link for your scheduled meeting. Basically, what happens is in D2L, if you go into your course and you scroll down on your course homepage, you will see your Microsoft Teams connector widget. If you set this up earlier in the semester before your class started, your link should show up right here with the title of your course. If you click this link, it will open up your course's team in Microsoft Teams. It'll actually give you the option to either open it in the web browser or open it in the desktop application. I'm going to go ahead and show you what this looks like in a web browser. So here, let me resize this a little bit. Here you see that I have my Microsoft Teams open within my web browser, and normally it'll probably default to the activities tab, something like this, or it actually may default to the Teams tab. But basically, once you log into your Teams, you'll see here under the Teams tab, if you have the most recent version of Microsoft Teams, for example, the software installed on your computer, or logging into the web browser, you will notice that you may have your teams split into two categories. The top category here will show all the teams that were created as classes. So this is referring to your D2L courses. And then you'll also see a group of teams that is categorized as teams. And these are actual teams that were created through the kind of the typical way that Microsoft Teams would create teams to work with. So in this particular case, I'm going to go under the classes category here, and you'll see that I have that D2O course that I was just in, my sandbox, listed right here. So I'm going to click on it. And there we go. Now, basically, what would kind of happen here is if you have come into your team in this manner from your D2L Microsoft Teams connector widget, you've come into the Microsoft Teams app, either on your computer or on a web browser, and you will come to this section here, and you come up here to the upper right hand corner, you click that little drop down box, and you have scheduled a meeting. Okay, let me show you what that looks like here. Very similar to what you're probably familiar with when creating an event in your Microsoft calendar. So basically, you have come to this point, you have typed in maybe the title of your course, something like that, right? Especially if it's going to be a reoccurring meeting. But either way, you don't have to add any attendees here because again, all the students that are in your course roster, when you created this Teams through your D2L Microsoft Teams widget, all your students were automatically placed into this team. So I've given it a date and I've given it a time. And let me go ahead and it's rolled forward. Now, you can then just automatically click send. Now, what happens is typically that will send an email notification to all the members of this team, which includes, me as faculty and all of my students. They will also receive a notification in the Microsoft Teams app if they have it installed on their computer or on their mobile device. And it'll show up in their Microsoft Outlook. I'm sorry, their Microsoft Calendar as an event that was scheduled. So the issue that may arise is when you have done this, Um, Basically what happens is that email notification is being sent by a um, kind of a generic made up email address that Microsoft creates just for your team. And you might get an email reply that looks like this. And it'll have an error message, and it'll basically say that this email was undeliverable. And if you're looking at the error that's printed in the email, it'll look something similar to this. And we know that this is what's going on, that this is in relation to our D2L course team, because this right here, it's saying that it's coming from the course 202862 group. And it's attached to my OKCU, edu address type stuff. And you'll see it again here, as well as the from um, line will state the name of your course. You can see here that in my example that I've highlighted, Nurse 7113 has sent out this email through their team through their course team in D2L. And the email is getting kicked back. The reason for that is because this generic email address that Microsoft just creates for this team is not in the university's safe senders list. So basically, the university has an email filter system that will catch any email that it does not recognize. And so it does not recognize this email address. And normally, CTS at the beginning of the semester will go through, and any teams that have been created through D2L at the beginning of the semester, they will add to a safe senders list. However, if you created your course team after CTS has done this, then your team email address will not be in that safe senders list. So what's happening is your email is getting caught by an email spam filter that the university uses. The only way to resolve this is to ask CTS to add your course team's email address to the safe sender list for the university. Then the emails will go out with no filter message like this. So this is explaining exactly what has happened. I also want to show you how you can ensure that when you did create the scheduled meeting, that it actually was added successfully for not only you, but for your students. So I'm going to go ahead and close this email. And then I'm back in my team. Again, I'm looking at this through my web browser, but this is my course team that I was looking at just a little bit ago. So again, just to remind you, under Teams and my Microsoft Teams app, I'm going to go into my course that has my team, my course's name in the team's title. And here you will see that it will default to the general channel under the post tab. So if you created the scheduled meeting, as I showed you a few minutes ago, you will notice that it'll pop up in a couple of different places for you and your students. The very first place that you'll automatically notice that this occurs is right here under the post tab for your course team. If you come down here and you look, this is that scheduled meeting that I created earlier. This post tab functions like very similar to like a feed on a social networking site. And this is showing that you basically posted the scheduled meeting to the team, and all the members of the team will receive this notification in the Microsoft Teams app. Okay, and that's one way that the students can ensure that they get that scheduled meeting URL, because when they see this within the Teams app, they can actually click on it and it'll open up the team itself. I clicked on the actual tile and it opens up the details for the meeting. Now I created it, so I'm getting actually to see the text editor, but the students wouldn't see the text editor. But then they could also click on the join button here, and it'll automatically open that team meeting in the web browser itself. Okay. And the reason why it's showing that it can't access my camera is because I'm using it for this tutorial. So here you can see that I'm actually in that team meeting, and if I click join now, I would actually get into it and go from there. However, another way to ensure that this team meeting was scheduled correctly, not only for your students, but also for yourself, is it will automatically be added to your calendar. Now, you won't necessarily be able to see your students' calendars, but if you did this correctly in the previous steps, it will definitely show up in all places. So if I'm in my Microsoft Outlook, or if I'm in Microsoft Teams, I have a little icon that says calendar. And if I click on the calendar icon, it'll show my calendar. And you can see here that here is my scheduled meeting that I created for my course a minute ago. And so this tells me that I have created it successfully, very specifically because it lists the title of my course as the Microsoft team it is coming from. And so that really tells me that not only was this added to my calendar, but it was added to the calendar of all of the members of that course team, which would be your students in that course. So basically what I can do now is just to triple verify that my students get this link and get this scheduled meeting information. I can either click here to copy this URL, or if I want to get more details about the meeting itself, I'm going to click on edit. And then I can scroll down here in this big, huge text box, and I can highlight all of this in here and then copy that. Okay, so Control C if you're on a PC, or Command C on a Mac, or you can right click and hit copy. And then I'm going to go back into my course in D2L on the course homepage, and I can post this information as a course announcement. Once I open up that scheduled Teams meeting link, and you could type in something like, "Dear students, please see the scheduled Teams meeting link below," and then paste that information in there. And there you can see it has copied not only the link that they can click, but the entire meeting information, all those details. And then I can just hit publish, and it will show up as a published announcement. And I click on the course homepage, and you can see that there it is right there. Now, one final note that I want to point out is that if you did set this up in your Microsoft team as a reoccurring scheduled meeting, you don't have to create the team link every week. You can just, when you're creating that scheduled meeting, you can check the option for reoccurring, and then you can just say this meeting occurs every week on this day at this time, and then you can even tell it you can end the rescheduled series on a certain date. So, for example, the last day of the semester. And so that way you don't have to create the link every week. You can just create one link at the beginning of the semester, post it into your course as a course announcement, and they'll have the same link the entire semester. Hopefully this information has been helpful. If you have any other questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to the Center for Excellence in Teaching and Learning.